How does figure ground perception trick your mind? Imagine looking at a picture and suddenly seeing two different images depending on what you focus on. That's your brain playing a visual game called figure ground perception. It helps you decide what parts of what you see are the main objects and what parts are just background. This process is so automatic that you don't even realize it's happening. But sometimes, it can trick you into seeing things that aren't really there or hiding objects in plain sight. At its core, figure ground perception is your brain's way of separating an object, called the figure, from everything around it, which is the ground. When you see a coffee cup on a cluttered desk, your brain instantly recognizes the cup as the figure and the rest as the background. Without this ability, your visual world would be a confusing mess of shapes and colors. It's a skill that helps you make sense of your surroundings quickly and effortlessly. This idea comes from a branch of psychology called Gestalt psychology. It says your mind naturally organizes what you see into meaningful patterns. Your brain doesn't just see separate parts, it combines them into a whole. For example, you can recognize a friend's face in a crowd or find your keys on a messy table because your brain groups shapes and colors into familiar objects. But here's where the trick comes in. Sometimes, the figure and ground can switch places depending on what you focus on. Think of the Rubin vase, where you see either a black vase or two white faces. Your brain chooses which image to see as the figure and which as the background. This switching back and forth shows how flexible your perception can be and how easily it can be misled. Several clues help your brain decide what's the figure. Enclosed shapes, smaller objects, high contrast, or things separated from their surroundings are more likely to be seen as the main object. Less distinct or blurry areas tend to fade into the background. Artists and designers use these rules to create optical illusions or draw your attention to certain parts of an image. Your brain is constantly competing to decide what's important. Different parts of what you see fight to be recognized as the figure. The winner gets your focus, while the other parts fade away. This competition can be influenced by what you expect, your past experiences, or the scene's context. That's why two people can look at the same picture and see completely different things. This ability is an important survival skill. It helps you spot danger hiding in bushes or find ripe fruit among leaves. In everyday life, it helps you navigate busy streets, read signs, or use apps on your phone. Designers also use these principles to make interfaces clear and easy to understand, guiding your eyes to important buttons or information. But because this process happens automatically, it can sometimes lead to mistakes. Camouflage works by breaking up figure ground separation, making objects hard to see. Optical illusions use the same rules to trick your eyes and brain into seeing things that aren't there or confusing shapes. Sometimes, you might miss something obvious because it blends into the background or see shapes in clouds that aren't really there. In short, figure ground perception is a quick mental shortcut that helps you make sense of a busy, complex world. It usually works well, but it can also play tricks on you. Understanding how it works explains why your perception can sometimes be surprising or misleading. It's a fascinating part of how your mind interprets the visual signals it receives every day.